about the VA situation and more. Maryland 1st District Congressman Andy Harris. Congressman Harris, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Well,
good morning, Congressman.
I tell you what, this VA situation certainly has, I know, a lot in our audience, Congressman, very upset. We do have a lot of retirees to the area. Many people have served, and to hear this story day in and day out, each day it seems like it gets worse. And I guess my first question to you with this whole situation, Congressman, is it a lack of funding, or is it that the bureaucracy has failed, or is it both?
I just don't think that a bureaucratic system that large would ever be able to deliver the kind of health care that our veterans deserve. So you can pour all the money you want into it. I just don't think that a bureaucracy efficiently delivers health care, and VA is living proof of that.
Congressman, you know what makes me angry? When you think about these 5 Taliban prisoners that were recently released from Club Gitmo, they had better access to health care faster than our veterans did, the ones that went out and captured them and put them at Gitmo.
Well, almost everyone has in America, the vast majority of Americans had better access to health care. If our veterans had been given a Medicaid card, they'd have better access to health care than they would have in a lot of VA hospitals.
Congressman, is this not a number one talking point for Republicans to be able to go out and say, look at what happened with the VA, this is what you're going to end up with Obamacare?
I think so. I think again, it's making the case. The VA health system problem is just making our case that Obamacare eventually will end up as being a government-run health care program. And let's take a very critical look at what government-run health care programs look like. And the VA is just the best example of the way we shouldn't go.
Congressman, let me ask you this concerning the situation. You've got people within the VA that are covering up, and I know they're trying to save their jobs, but you look at the VA in a special situation because these are vets that have put their lives on the line, life and limb on the line, and to have a cover-up of massive proportion and to have special lists and things like that, you almost wonder where's the heart of these people?
Well, again, bureaucracies are not known for having hearts. I mean, 80% of the members employees in the VA are unionized. It's a unionized bureaucracy, probably the only thing worse than a bureaucracy itself. The bottom line is that we now know that 13% of the people of the schedulers admitted that their supervisors told them to falsify records. Now, 13% admitted it. Can you imagine how many actually told their, just were afraid to say, oh, yeah, my supervisor told me to falsify a record? This is pervasive, this problem. And I honestly, I'm not sure it's curable just by, again, throwing more money in or just by temporarily saying, well, for the time being now, we'll let some veterans maybe occasionally go outside the system.
Well, and we talk about funding, Congressman, in the sense that if there was a lack of funding, we hear about us sending money overseas and gobs of it, and yet our veterans are suffering. I guess the point is that if it is a situation where there's lack of money, then we need to get our priorities in line, because what does this say about potential men and women that want to join the military if they're not going to be taken care of? What's the incentive for them to join the military when their country isn't going to take care of them when they come home?
Well, certainly our veterans who have service-related disabilities, they should have all the confidence in the world that they're going to have good health care. That's why, what I've proposed is saying take our what are called our Priority 1 veterans, because the VA does assign a priority score to each veteran in terms of whether, the priority they should get at a VA system. Our Priority 1 veterans are those with high % service-related disabilities, exactly the ones who enter the military and should be confident that if they get hurt in the military, they're going to be taken care of. We should actually give all those veterans a choice to go into the Federal Employee Health Program instead of the VA. Just get the same health insurance that, again, the bureaucrats in the VA get.
Congressman, let me ask you about the people who have been, I guess, called whistleblowers, the nurses and the doctors who have come forward and given information which has resulted in the Inspector General's investigation and inspections and audits of the various VA healthcare facilities across the country. What kind of protections really should be in place for these people who have come forward?
Well, of course, we have whistleblower protections in the federal government already. I think they're going to be adequate because I think no one at the VA is now going to want to be accused of covering anything up. I suspect that the whistleblowers will just come out in droves now. Again, 13% of those of the clerks who schedule have been willing to admit to the Inspector General that their supervisors told them to falsify records. Which is in essence whistleblowing. So I think that, again, it's pervasive in the system. I think that we're going to see a lot of whistleblowing, and we're going to pull the curtain back, again, on what a bureaucratically run healthcare system actually looks like and why it can never work.
Congressman, in the interim, how long is it going to take to get this fixed? And what about those who currently are in dire need of care and still may not be getting it until this thing gets fixed?
You can't fix it. I'm just not sure it's fixable.
Yeah.
5.6 million veterans have the predominant amount of their health care delivered by the VA health system. Obviously, this system was not designed to take care of 5.6 million people. So until you offload some of those people, again, I say by giving choice to the highest priority veterans, give them the choice to go outside the VA system for everything, not to have to ask every time for every specialist or every visit, can I go outside? Just give them a federal employee health benefit insurance card just like federal employees get, and let them go outside the system. Unload the system a little bit. Maybe it can take care of the remaining veterans.
I heard a report recently, within the last couple of days, that the VA went to Congress and asked for, I believe, $129 million to upgrade their computer system, their scheduling computer system. Congress gave them the money. They went there, and 3 years later, it still wasn't fixed. To me, that just looks like an entire organization that really needs to be taken apart, that just doesn't work anymore. If you can't get something like that fixed in 3 years, I run a business. I know what it is to keep a business computer system running. If you can't do that with that kind of money, well, then there's a problem. You got to look at just the very basics of how this organization is structured and really take it apart.
Sure. I mean, look, we should have learned that from the Obamacare exchange debacle, where you spent $500 million and couldn't get a computer system running. Bottom line is that the federal government is not good at doing a lot of things. It's not as efficient as the private sector. And we have to ask ourselves, why are we duplicating private sector capabilities in the federal government, in the VA system? Again, let's give veterans the choice. I honestly think a fair number would say, especially in areas like Delaware, rural Maryland, the lower shore that I represent, I think veterans would say, look, let me just get my health care at my local hospital, my local facilities. I don't need to go to Baltimore. I don't need to go to a large hospital, large VA center to get it. We should begin to deconstruct the bureaucracy, and hopefully at some point we get it smaller where it can actually take care of the people it's entrusted with.
Congressman, what's the probability that a proposal or one similar to what you're saying about getting these guys and gals care? What's the likelihood that something gets passed to enable them to have choices you're talking about to join the federal system or get out into the private sector?
Again, I think that the Band-Aid is going to be to make it easier to get out into the private sector temporarily on a case-by-case, almost by, visit-by-visit basis, but I don't think that's a long-term solution. I'll tell you, until the Senate changes and until, because again, what we're talking about is decreasing the size of a unionized bureaucracy. The unionized bureaucracies have a lot of advocates here in Washington, especially over on the Senate side, and it'll be and in the White House. So I think it'll be impossible. I think the president and the Senate is going to vote on a bill that basically just throws more money into a similar type system, actually builds more VA hospitals and medical centers. Look, the problem isn't the number of hospitals and medical centers; it's actually how they're run. Mm-hmm. And again, throwing more money at the situation is not the solution.
8:23 this morning, Mike and Jake in the morning. Maryland 1st District Congressman Andy Harris joining us. Congressman, we have to get to traffic and weather. We want to come back on the other side. We want to talk about this prisoner exchange situation among some other topics here as we roll along this morning. Keep it here, 92.7 WGMD.
This WGMD Reliant Traffic Report is a service of Complete Tree Care.